Alright, that video felt like it took so long to do, and I know it's because I paused so many times. Alright, skippy. Ooh, leadership success. Be reasonable, Harris. There are much worse things Nazir might have been doing instead of polishing silverware. Much worse, isn't that right? The maid blushes at the insinuation. Somehow I can't help but speculate if polishing silverware might not be a new term Prince Nazir invented to describe an altogether different activity. I could easily be entertaining similar speculations myself, but I did really see him polishing the silver spoon in his hand, so I simply smile in amusement at the thought. I can vouch that His Highness is telling the truth, Harris. Anyway, what's the point of lecturing Prince Nazir when he could be making up for lost time, helping Raphael with whatever he needs? And tomorrow you'll find him cleaning the stables with the handsome stable boy. No, this time I will drum into him his obligations and duties as a royal prince. No, you won't. What? Better men than you have tried is what my friend meant. Prince Nazir never pays attention to lectures or lessons. Trust me, I have far too much first-hand knowledge of this. Can we skip? No. It all just goes into one ear and comes out to the other. The best way to go about it is to speed him on his way once he's caught, I found. I suppose you're right, Lady Rosencruz. Harris heaves a grudging sigh and turns towards Prince Nazir. I've caught you, Your Highness. Time to speed you on your way. Up and at 'em, tally-ho! Nazir obediently follows Harris out of the room, but not before shooting me a grateful look behind his back while walking past me. As the two men leave, the maid, forgotten until now, takes the chance to scurry after them here. Figured we could do that. Alright, how's shit going? See, I'm not so much worried about my stats. I'm more worried about these losers' stats. But let's... Heavenly beauty, but how much beauty will I need for that? Because I don't have a lot of beauty, and I don't know why Aurelius would require beauty. Because he doesn't. That's not one of his things. Everything else is maybe needed. But this is not needed. It is the one I have the least in, though, and I will need beauty for a specific point, so yeah. Again, it'll do. Alright, skip. We follow them. Right, this one is where I fucked up last time. Pretend to still be exhausted is what we needed to do, because that makes everyone like us. Alright. We don't do the truth serum yet? Good, because I don't remember it. Well, I am forgetting where we are. $31, $28. I mean, if I give everyone the opportunity to do everything... I don't know. I don't know. I know that if we were doing the other mode, we wouldn't have we would have to. I feel like you have to save scum because everything is like doubled or something. Is crazy, I think. It says stats are in story mode for for adventure mode add 10 to them, so you just add 10 to something. Which seems just very hard. I mean, maybe not though? Maybe not though, I don't know. Still, it doesn't really seem worth it. What week were we just on? Oh, we did need a bomb. It doesn't really tell us that we would need a bomb though, did it? Or maybe it did tell us we need a bomb. But I just don't remember because I skip everything because I kind of have to. I'm not going to read through the same things we've already done. I'm not going to risk anything right now. Yeah, we're just going to do this. Yeah, I changed it to etiquette because I forgot that I wasn't going to do beauty anymore, and etiquette is very important to Aurelius. Alright. Skipping ahead. I will seek out Harris, I guess, this time? Is it week 13? Confused. I'm so confused at where we're at. Okay. Perhaps I should ask Harris. I'd hate to disturb Saren if he's currently busy with his duties. If my memory serves me right, Harris once mentioned he spends much of his time in the palace gardens. With any luck, I should be able to find him there. With the decision settled, I make my way to the gardens in haste. I soon spot Harris's figure standing near some bushes, facing away from me. Good morning, Harris. He turns to greet me, looking utterly unsurprised at my sudden presence. I have the feeling he heard me coming from a mile away. Lady Rosencruz, to what do I owe the pleasure? Would you happen to have a few minutes of free time on your hands? I have some questions relating to light magic that I'd like to ask for your insight on. He arcs an eyebrow, regarding me with surprise. I beg your pardon, I thought you were supposed to be the royal tutor, not I. Well, I'm not asking you to tutor the princes in magic now, am I? A chuckle escapes his lips at my retort. If you must know, I'm in urgent need of more knowledge concerning mind-controlling magic. I was reminded of the slight similarity between it and light magic, both being connected to the mind. And I was hoping that you, as a light magic user, might have some idea of how mind-controlling magic might work. Oh, this guy. He sure does know a thing or two. Harris's eyebrow lifts further and he pauses for a moment before speaking. I am shocked you would come to me over others. I neglect to comment that, staring at him as I wait for his response. I neglect to comment on that, staring at him as I wait for his response to my request. As flattered as I am, I'm afraid I cannot help. I do have an affinity for light magic, however, it is admittedly quite weak. I only trained it to a point where it's enough to aid Prince Aurelius in certain missions. Certain missions? Can't help but cock my head in curiosity, though something about Harris's tone makes me think twice about asking for an elaboration. The one thing I am apt at is sensing whether a person is lying. I assume that would not be helpful towards your research. I see. Very well. In any case, thank you for your time. I try not to let the disappointment show on my face, but it must have been blatant, because Harris looks at me for a moment before speaking again. I suggest you speak to Prince Saren instead. He has a much stronger aptitude for light magic. Thank you, I'll consider it. He nods at me once, then turns his gaze back to the bushes he was observing. Why are you observing bushes, you weirdo? I take my leave, my mood much lower than when I arrived, but I quickly suppress the discouraging thoughts plaguing me. Roy. I need to make sure that we're not missing the truth serum at any point. Because I don't remember. I don't remember when we need it. Wait, what? How much intelligence do we have? Because we need 40 intelligence apparently. We have that, that's fine. We even have 45. No, we don't. That's a shame. I'm just looking at things we may need. I don't know, it's so hard to know. But we are gonna do another stat thingy. We're gonna do another schedule. I'm gonna take it, mostly because I'm bored. Alright, that's helpful. Oh, the truth serum. Do it. And I know that if we don't do it now, but that just means I need to go back and change something. That's fine. Right, fire, water, and light. So, Aurelius. Load this. So we need him to do this. And we need to make sure it all adds up to at least 7, because he has 0 fire right now. I'm gonna let the 3 intelligence go this time, and just because we now have enough for whatever. Right, yeah, we should be able to make it now. Truth serum. Alright. We actually have a lot of money. Which I am hesitant to do anything about, but you know, it's fine. We don't need to make this right now. I just have to remember, I guess, certain things. Because the guy doesn't tell me because it's all separated really like, specifically ordered. So what I'm doing right now is just looking specifically at stat checks. I'm not looking at anything else. It doesn't really tell me anything else. It literally just tells me all the stat checks. Oh man, it's getting warm in this room. What am I doing? I don't feel like I need anything for a little while. Maybe I should... Oh wait, but it's these fuckers that need something. Learn your water affinity, mister. You keep going, I don't care about that. Why am I making you learn fire? I'll never remember. Considering you have it above your wood affinity, let's not do that anymore. I just wanted it like a little bit different. Let's get the combat up next. Cool. That's fine, I don't care. Right. Who do you serve? Were you placed under a mind control spell? Able to blah blah blah. I have no more questions. Right. I guess we need to use that one because of Aurelius, right? That's the one he wanted to do. Okay, use the prisoner to lure out the mastermind. Ooh. I'm just trying to do what Aurelius wants to do. Does that make him like me, actually? We should look. I'm actually curious to what this does. It's interesting. Okay. And I'm just checking. Yeah, this does literally nothing. Like, Seren is just middle ground completely. But we need to obviously do a bit of a gamble here. Okay, they actually like me a little bit this time. Crazy. Right, so he's like here. Dung. He liked that. I can tell. Ooh, Nazir hated that. I'm so sorry, buddy. Aurelius is right. Garion and the palace guards are barely able to keep the prisoner from killing himself. We can only expect his mental condition to continue deteriorating further the longer we wait. When his mind breaks down to the point even the Ring of Judgment has no more hold over him, then what? What then? We cannot interrogate a gibbering shell. I'll say this much, my men are at the breaking point. They can't keep on force-feeding and force-drinking him, not to mention other things, much longer. If the mind controller doesn't kill him soon, my men might do the job for him. I see time is not on our side in this case. It may be very clever of you to make the poor chap a bait, but how are we going to set up a trap for whoever the deviant sends down? He has entered the palace once, he can do it again. Guards alone are no good. I don't mean any offense, Garion. None taken, your highness. The fact is, the deviant knows the guards will be there, and will have a plan to incapacitate them. We need someone or something else to monitor the dungeon and alert us to intruders. Something much more innocuous. Unnoticeable. Or more to the point, something that will not draw attention even when you notice it. Yet ever present in a dungeon. The same idea strikes the princes and I at the same time. Seren smiles, Nazir laughs, and Aurelius pales noticeably. Rats! What's the matter, Aurelius? A furry rodent or 3? Or 30? Shut up. Don't you think they are cute in a way? Cuddly and soft and oh so squeaky. I hear some people even keep them as pets, sneak them into their rooms. Not my room, and not my pillow. Nazir, don't tell me. Old stories. Nazir, behave yourself. Yes, sir. Lady Rosencruz and I can use our wood and light magic to link all of us up to the consciousness of the dungeon rats. After we do so, we shall scatter them around strategic spots where they can observe anyone and anything entering or leaving the dungeon. And there's nothing more commonplace than rats in a dungeon. The deviant and his minions certainly won't be on guard against them. It sounds as if it could be a good plan. I hope it bears fruit. It will. So, I clap my hands to draw everyone's attention. Can we skip now? Yes, we can. Alright, there's nothing we need. Okay. How much moolah do I have? I should really look at these and see what I can and cannot make. Right, that's what... That's like nothing. That's like 1 day of studying. Nazia can make that. Which I know I will need eventually. Well, we'll synthesize it. It hurts. Okay, how are you guys doing with everything you need to learn? Fire. What's your other one? Wind. Water. Well, we are going to be learning again, boys. And class is over. And I learned a lot today, in this week. I don't know about you guys. Well, actually, Aurelius did extremely well too. Which is why rigid discipline is of the utmost importance when trying to channel magic. I look up from my notes to see how the princes are taking in the lecture. Aurelius looks, as always, inscrutable with his folded arms and his marble face. Slouching over his desk, Nazir keeps gazing longingly towards the window. Even Seren, usually the most attentive of the trio, seems uncharacteristically distracted today, making sure I can't skip. I suppose the past few weeks have been hard on all of us. I understand everyone is longing to get this lesson over with, but I am afraid I cannot release you until I have seen you make a good effort at applying yourself to today's material. Aurelius's lips part in an inaudible sigh. Nazir's shoulders droop. He pulls himself upright and bends over his notes with a grimace. Seren says loudly and clearly, "Rats." The three of us stare at him. If the unfailingly polite Seren is on the verge of mutiny... Could my lecture be that terrible today? Wait, no. Rats. The rats. Assassins. I am uncertain, but intruders have entered the dungeon. 2 of them. Your Highness, link us up to the rats. Seren closes his eyes and nods. In an instant, blackness hits me, followed by a nauseating feeling of vertigo. Then I find myself looking at the inside of the dungeon, peering from behind the charred wood of one of the disused torches by the wall. 2 men wearing the armor of the palace guards are walking towards the 2 guards still on duty. The next shift is an hour away, and how did they get the keys to the dungeon gates anyway? Who goes there? We're the next shift here to relieve you. The next shift is not due in an hour. Marshal Garrison changed the schedule. Garrion changed the schedule. Prince's orders, he said, something to do with a new interrogation. The princes obviously had given no such order, nor had a new interrogation been planned. He said he will brief you personally about the situation when you present yourselves to him. To their credit, the palace guards are not so easily taken in. What are your names? Never seen you around before. That's because we're new recruits. Look, here are our employment papers. He advances towards the guards, a rolled parchment scrunched up in his hand. Stay back. The guard stumbles back, leveling his halberd. Too late. Swifter than I would have expected from a man in full armor, the assassin darts under the halberd, pulling something short and flashing from the parchment. He slams against the guard with his elbow. Then he pirouettes away and lunges towards the second guard, who is frantically ringing the bell for alarm. Meanwhile, the other assassin has sprinted past his associate into the cell where the prisoner is kept. For the briefest moment, their eyes meet. Then, the assassin makes a swift slicing motion around the prisoner's throat. From the top of the stairs comes the thumping sound of booted men in a hurry. Garrion's guards, alerted to the commotion, are storming to the rescue at last. But once again, they are too late. Neither exchanging look nor word, the 2 assassins retrieve a small glass vial from the pouches on their belts. Without the slightest hesitation, they uncork the vial and dash the liquid over their faces. Acid! In that moment, we are withdrawn from the mind of the rat. The classroom slowly swims into focus. Nothing outward about the day has changed. The sun is shining as bright as ever, and the sky as blue, and the birdsong as sweet. But in the air there is an ominous chill, and the faces of the princes are sick with an ashen pallor. My sincerest apologies. Seren's breath catches in his throat. I notice his complexion is especially pale. Don't worry, Your Highness. To be able to keep the connection for that long, it's already an impressive feat. Seren nods. They splashed on their own faces. Can you imagine what must be going through their minds of those 2 as they... We do not know if anything is going through their minds. Perhaps they had been reduced to the level of puppets, unthinking and incapable of thought. I hope so. I hope so. I can imagine what you must be feeling, but we cannot afford ourselves the luxury of sentimentalism. It's not sentimentalism. Those two are perfectly normal. Were perfectly normal, joking, chatting, laughing with the other palace servants. I'm sure underneath the mind control they were there, helpless but aware, right until the very end. Shocked as I am by the gruesome scene I had just witnessed, it takes a few moments before Nazir's words sink in. Nazir, you recognize the assassins? Yes, I have seen them around the palace. They were new hires. Their names I can't remember, or maybe I never did learn. Where were they based, Nazir? Who hired them? I can't say. They were around. I mean, I would see them here and there, helping the other servants with miscellaneous tasks, but they didn't seem to be anywhere in particular that I can recall. The perfect situation for embedded assassins. As for who hired them, perhaps whoever it was thought that they were real servants, or perhaps they fell under the deviant's control after they had been employed. Seren is shaking his head, his mouth set in a grim and troubled line. There has been one too many infiltrations into the palace by the deviant's killers for us to believe they are merely a string of coincidences. True, the deviant will certainly need help, inside help, to be able to slip so many agents past Garion's security, and always at the most opportune times. Not to mention my ambush, and that I had been appointed royal tutor when it was still supposed to be a state secret. The deviant knows too much about us, and, what is worse, he knows us too well. So, we agree. There is a traitor amongst us in the palace. The traitor has to be well connected with the household department and has enough influence there, overtly or covertly, to get his accomplices entered on the palace payroll. For a minute, we look at each other, trying to work through the implications behind the clues which the prisoner's death had brought us. A notion too half-formed to be truly a thought probes the back of my mind. There is something not quite right about the... how? Your Highnesses! At this point, Garion bursts into the classroom, heaving and panting, flanked by a contingent of heavily armed and armoured guards. You are safe, thank the heavens. Assassins won through to the dungeon, killed the prisoner. Don't worry, Garion. As you can see, we are all alright. And we saw it all, Garion. The rats, remember? Yes, I wondered. Well, I'm glad to find you safe, Your Highness, and your brothers also. I will leave a squadron. Outside the classroom, if you please. But, Your Highness, we are discussing matters of extreme sensitivity, and I cannot, as much as I may wish, guarantee that. Seren lets the sentence fade into silence and raises an eyebrow ever so slightly towards the guards. None of them can be distinguished from the disguise of the assassins now lying dead on the dungeon floor. Garion catches on immediately. Very well. Men, keep guard outside the room and bar anyone from approaching. Your Highnesses, I will personally lead my guards to comb through the palace grounds to make sure everyone is safe. I will be with you as soon as my job is done. Good. Thank you, Garion. Garion makes a deep bow towards the princes. He orders the soldiers out of the room and turns to leave himself. As I watch Garion and the guards retreat, the thought strikes me, sudden as lightning. Acid. Lady Rosencruz? Of all the ways the deviant could have made them take their own lives, why did he make them choose to splash acid over their faces? Nazir's eyes fairly sparkle with pleasure. Because he didn't know about the rats. He thought they wouldn't be seen during the killings. He only didn't want them recognized afterwards. But Nazir did manage to recognize them. Which is precisely what the mastermind sought to prevent. And the reason he sought to prevent it must be because he is afraid. A direct trail exists, and it leads from those servants to the traitor in the palace, and then to him. If our conjecture is correct, whoever hired the assassins had done so fully aware of what they were. Not out of pressure, not deluded in ignorance, but maliciously and knowingly. And we can find that person, we can compel that knowledge from him. The palace employment registers. The names, residences, families, and previous employers of all palace staff are recorded there. Then that is where we will start looking. Someone in the palace is feeding information to the mastermind and helping his killers bypass the royal guards. Our top priority must be to uncover this mole and bring him to justice. Now that our best lead is dead, we have to put everything into this investigation. Yay! Okay. Missions. I have a lot of beauty, but that's Seren. I don't know why I would do that one. Alright, how are you guys doing? Y'all are learning a lot? Let's give you some wind. Alright, how's ours doing? We will... Let me look at the day. Right, it is the 16th. So that means it's going to be the 17th. And we don't actually need anything. So that's cool. So instead, I think we will actually do a mission instead of that. What is it? The butlers. We need etiquette, so it should be fine, right? Prince Aurelius sprang on me an unexpected request. I was asked to spy on his devoted manservant, Harris. Of course, he had not put it quite so boldly. I need to look at this. Okay. I keep thinking I've left it paused. Of course, he had not put it quite so boldly. Is that what they keep meaning to put in and not badly? I don't know. He mentioned that Harris seems to always have pressing business in the treasury every evening and would like me to find out what has been keeping him. Ooh, Raphael by any chance? Finding this matter quite curious myself, I accepted the prince's request. Over the next few evenings, I tailed Harris around the palace, jotting down each and every one of my findings of him. Checking over the treasury accounts together with Raphael, lugging boxes filled with paperwork together with Raphael, monitoring clerical work of the treasury officials together with Raphael, having dinner together with Raphael, talking with Raphael, laughing with Raphael, taking private little strolls around the back of the treasury annex together with Raphael, among many, many equally trivial activities, all done in the company of the apparently inimitable Raphael. After a week of such delicate, not to mention increasingly embarrassing spy work, I had enough sense to report to Aurelius that Harris had simply been giving poor Raphael a hand. I also gave a suggestion to expand the Treasury's payroll and headcount. Clearly the staff there is badly overworked. I don't think that's it. I think they are together. And I guess that answers my previous question. Which is good. Knock, knock, knock. Oh, I guess this isn't a skippable one. I hear 3 crisp raps and the door swings open. I look up from my desk to see Aurelius stride in, grim-faced, a hefty stack of documents under his arm. No news? Bad news. He dumps the entire sheaf onto my desk and sits down, looking cross. Please do have a seat, Your Highness. Aurelius ignores my mild sarcasm. Harris and Raphael finished combing through the personnel records for the last 2 months. This... well, you're giving it to the worst people who will definitely know something's up. He pats the mountain of paperwork. Is their report? What have they found? In brief, there was a general round of personnel clearing, entirely scheduled and routine a few days before the latest assassination. Deserving staff were given raises or promoted, undeserving ones sacked, and new members recruited in their place. This always marks a time of chaos in the personnel department. Whoever the deviant is, he knows a lot about our routines and procedures. He couldn't have picked a more perfect window of opportunity to infiltrate those assassins into the palace. What leads have Raphael and Harris found? That whoever the assassins had posed as, it could not have been any of the new hires whom we've retained. Palace security is now too tight for them to pull that off. They could have been contract workers, hired on a purely temporary basis, who then embedded themselves into the palace. Or they might have been relatively new staff who had just been laid off. Every year there are a dozen or so of them. Surely the palace keeps records for these types of employees. Naturally, it does. Raphael and Harris attempted to track down those who belong to these 2 categories, but they came up short. That's not suspicious at all. Aurelius looks at me meaningfully. I stare back in disbelief. Destroyed? Aurelius nods. Burnt to cinders. He's very thorough, our deviant. So are his collaborators. Is that the end of the trail? I regret my gambit did not work. It's not over yet. A ghost of a smile flits across his face, and then he is gone. That is disappointing news, but if I am honest with myself, far from unexpected. Once again, events have shown the deviant has access to high-level information about the palace, which means his mole must be someone high in the palace hierarchy, involved in the day-to-day administration. Well, all of that we already know. Aurelius's gambit has not, unfortunately, brought us any closer to the truth. What can I do? Do I really have no choice but to wait until the mastermind strikes again? And I will see you in the next video.